Good evening, everyone. Slightly new setting tonight. I'm also trying something new. I'm going to read from the computer instead of from the book. So we'll see if this works. We're starting off at page 22. Traffic was murder. Ogden Road was crowded bumper to bumper, and Kerry really envied the hovering limousines that bypassed all the traffic. She could understand the ambulances and the occasional police car with the siren hovering above traffic. She could understand fire trucks and tow trucks using hovering capabilities. But she couldn't understand why limousines were authorized to hover. Taxis weren't authorized to hover, and neither were buses. She sighed. It was times like these that made her wish she could turn the siren on the PD car and bypass all the traffic. But alas, that would be taking advantage of her position. And there was no real emergency, at least not yet. 1.5 hours later, which was ridiculous for a commute that usually took 20 minutes on the super speed hovering zone, Kerry arrived to work. She walked in and greeted each person as they said, "Good morning, Lieutenant," or "Morning, ma'am," or "Traffic was pretty bad, huh, ma'am?" On the way to her office, she passed the empty waiting area where she did a double take. Curled up under a chair in the corner was little Amber, wearing the same clothes she had on yesterday. Kerry rushed up to where she was and sat next to her, putting a gentle hand on the girl's shoulder. Instinctively, Amber jumped and rolled out from under the chair, then threw her arms up over her head as she opened her eyes. "Amber, honey, it's okay," Kerry said with a smile. She had never seen a child do that. Even the abused ones usually just jumped. "I didn't know it was you," Amber explained, looking a bit ashamed. She clambered over the chair and sat down next to Kerry. "Sorry." "There's nothing to be sorry about," Kerry said with a smile. "Were you here all by yourself all night long?" "I guess," Amber said. "And no one noticed you?" "I moved around," she said. "I set my watch. See? It goes off every hour, so I can wake up and see if I need to move." Kerry raised an eyebrow. This was the most defensive child she had ever seen, and effectively defensive as well. When she was 8, would she have thought of setting her own watch every hour to be sure no one took her while she was slept? And how did she manage to evade building security and the night shift? What happened to Sarah? Lee was supposed to stay with the 2 children until the social services agent arrived. This was preposterous. Sarah wouldn't have made a mistake like this. Sarah stayed here with me and Kyle until a guy named Mr. Greenville came and took Kyle to a house where he could spend the night, and he said someone was coming separate from me. "So Sarah left?" Kerry asked. She couldn't believe her CSI had abandoned her charge. "No, Sarah stayed. Then a lady came, and her name's Miss Parker, and she told me she had a bed for me in a house and that we'd be back in the morning. And then she took me down the hall, and then Sarah left, since Miss Parker was with me." "Why didn't you go with Miss Parker?" Kerry asked, starting to become skeptical about this entire ordeal. It had a feel to it she simply didn't like. "Because she was... I don't know, it felt funny. I ran. I hid, and she went away after a really long time." "Did she say anything to you, Amber?" Why had the child felt threatened, Kerry wondered. There had to be a reason. Amber was an intelligent child. She had jumped instinctively when Kerry came, but had regained her wits when she realized that Kerry wasn't going to hurt her. So she most likely hadn't run without reason, or she would have come out from hiding after she realized her mistake. "No, but she did the same thing." Amber stopped. That wasn't something she wanted to share. "The same thing?" Kerry asked. "Nothing. It just felt weird." "Amber, I want you to tell me exactly what Mr. Greenville said when he came in to take Kyle. And exactly what he looked like, too. Can you do that for me? It's very important." Amber nodded. "Mr. Greenville was tall, and he had brown hair, and he had a green shirt on and tan pants, and he had brown shoes, and he said, 'I'm from social services, and I've got a nice warm bed for Kyle here.' Then Sarah said, 'I need to see identification,' and he pulled out a badge thing like you have," she said, pointing to Kerry's clip on her jacket. "Only it said Chicago Social Services, and it had his picture on it, and his name." Kerry was impressed. Amber obviously had a near photographic memory. Her goal to become a police officer or a detective was not far-fetched at all, with that kind of natural talent. What was the man's full name? Thomas Greenville, she said. Was he bad? I knew Miss Parker was bad. Is Thomas Greenville bad too? I don't know, Amber, but it's very important that you write down everything you told me, okay? Come with me. She offered her hand to the little girl, and Amber took it. Then she led her right to a witness room, and gave her a pad and a stylus. The girl started writing, and Kerry went to find Justin, Sarah, Greg, and Nikki. Kerry looked at her watch. Kyle was supposed to be here by now. It was vital that they started moving. Either Amber had overreacted and jumped to the wrong conclusion of what Parker was trying to do, or Amber was correct in her assumption that Parker was bad. And if that was the case, Kyle was most likely kidnapped. We'll read more tomorrow.